Photography. It's more than just a click on a button for me. It's about capturing a moment, telling a story, and how a device helps you connect with your surrounding. Today we are talking about two flagship phones that promise to elevate your photography. The Oppo Find X8 Pro and the Xiaomi 15 Ultra. With the Oppo Find X8 Pro, photography truly shifts depending on whether you're using auto or master mode. And when you step into that master mode, you can truly feel the collaboration with Hasselblad, a name synonym with professional photography. Yes, the very same brand that went to the moon. In auto mode, Oppo's shots are heavily processed, losing some of their raw authentic feel for me. It's almost like it's too perfect and it looks artificial because of it. For some, this might exactly be what you're looking for, including when you zoom in, having more of that artificial effect to it. But for me, it takes away that photography soul. Master mode, on the other hand, adds a unique character to the shot. And this is why I'm using master mode in this comparison between the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and the Oppo Find X8 Pro. And then we of course have the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, a phone that is paired with the legendary Leica brand, known for their stunning contrast and beautiful deep shadows. Leica brings a level of artistry that is hard to match, and I can really see that in some shots. That being said, I don't feel like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is at its best that it will be. Right now I feel like when it comes to their shots, they're quite more bright than they should be. But how do these stack up against each other? On one hand, we have Oppo with of course their Hasselblad collaboration and Xiaomi with their Leica. But this kind of comparison is more than just the camera performance, the hardware specifications. There's so much more to it. Naturally, when looking at the shots you will notice some clear color differences. Blue skies have more saturation on the Oppo Find X8 Pro, where on the other hand the Xiaomi skies appear more natural. Even though with blue skies the saturation of the Xiaomi can feel a bit off as well. The contrast difference, this is also quite apparent on the Xiaomi. The contrast between different colors really adds that pop to the shot itself. Where in comparison the Oppo has less of that stark difference between those different colors. A subtle yet significant distinction on how each of these approaches the photography. So let's talk about the price. The Oppo Find X8 Pro is simply more affordable. And yes, that absolutely matters. Price is a key factor when considering a device that you choose, especially when it comes to the performance and of course how expensive life has gotten. But there's a thing. Style matters just as much. Photography isn't about specs or performance, it's about the way that you feel about the shots. The narrative that one device performs better than the other is something that I hear often, but that's not the full picture. Sometimes something is flawed as a shot from, for instance, a disposable camera can have, but it can have more personality while technically being anything but perfect. Preference, as always, really matters when choosing between two different devices, and only you can answer that for yourself. And when it comes to smartphones, that character becomes very important. It's the camera that you have always with you. For the price, we are going to notice some differences when it comes to the hardware for the camera. The Xiaomi, for instance, has that giant HP9 sensor inside of it, where it almost makes the Oppo one look small in comparison. But then when it comes to zooming in, you will also notice when it comes to the Oppo, it will use more of that AI. The Xiaomi has that possibility of course as well, but I always have it off because it doesn't look natural at all. On the other hand, the Xiaomi has some work left to do as well. Artificial sharpening. This is my arch nemesis and it will always be. This isn't real detail, it just acts like it. And for me, it can truly ruin the shot. It strips away of what makes an image look natural, and that for me is something that Xiaomi needs to work on. The ultra-wide lens, an essential tool for capturing sweeping, fast landscapes or those dramatic moments that capture more than just a simple frame. But how much of a dramatic effect can actually be captured in the latest devices? Let's start with the Xiaomi 15 Ultra for instance. This year it's a bit more restrained. The lens isn't as wide as its predecessor, the 14 Ultra. Instead of offering that really wide camera lens that we're used to on the 14 Ultra and devices before it, the 15 Ultra is definitely less wide. On the other hand, we have the Oppo that comes with a 50mm ultra-wide lens. Still wide, but not quite as fast or dramatic in terms of perspective that you can create with it. Now, color and style, they remain consistent across both devices. But when it comes to capturing the space, you will see some differences. It's easy to tell that these lenses aren't as great as the others. Both the Xiaomi and the Oppo seem to downplay the ultra-wide as a key feature, and honestly, I can understand why. But when you commit to having an ultra-wide lens, it should be something that gives you that grand epic feeling, closer to that 12mm, something that truly opens up a shot possibility. And I'm curious, do you think when it comes to these two devices, that 14 and 50mm just isn't wide enough? Let me know in the comments below. Okay, 4K 60 frames per second on both the Xiaomi 15 Ultra and the Oppo Find X8 Pro. Annoying thing is with the Oppo, if I by accident hit that button, every single time I have to restart the recording because it doesn't then give me the options to change to different focal lengths. The Xiaomi is way more saturated than it should be. I'm unsure what Xiaomi is doing lately. Right, 3 times for both. 6 times versus 4.3 times, and then we're gonna just crop in on the Xiaomi. So both are 6 times now. Let's look at some dynamic range. Zoom in again, 3 times for both. 4.3 and 6. Let's make Xiaomi 6 again as well. Definitely the Oppo is a bit warmer, at least on my phone. And back to 1. 4K 60 frames per second front facing camera. Blacks are definitely nicer on the Oppo if you ask me. A bit more contrasty, and I feel like my is a bit more alive, if that makes sense, on the Oppo versus what I'm getting on the Xiaomi. Jacket is a little bit more realistic on the Xiaomi, but still I prefer the one on the Oppo when it comes to like the color it has. At the end, when it comes to the comparison of the Oppo Find X8 Pro and the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, there's one thing that we have to take in account: the price itself. If we are talking about which one is the better deal, because of the price and better battery life on the Oppo Find X8 Pro, that's going to be your better deal. When it comes to the experience of photography, I think there it depends on the preference. I still feel like Xiaomi has a potential to get back to where it needs to be, but right now I'm not hugely impressed with it. I feel like there's still some work when it comes to the Xiaomi, where of course with the Oppo it has been released for a while and therefore we have some updates for it. That being said, you never know what the future brings, and it could get worse on the Xiaomi as well. Either way, I think this comparison is quite interesting, especially because we are talking about two legendary brands working together with phone brands, Hasselblad and Leica. And which has your preference out of these two when it comes to the style itself? Either way, I'm sorry that I didn't have as much shots as normal. The overlap time between these two when I had them, because the Oppo Find X8 Pro is a lone unit, was very limited, and therefore limited in terms of what I can showcase in terms of difference between both of them in different situations, what I normally of course would prefer, like macro as well, and of course portrait. Simply put, at the time of recording those shots for both of them, I didn't have much flowers and therefore I couldn't really do macro shots. But of course, watch some other guys like Orange Scooter on Twitter. He does some amazing shots and macro capabilities when it comes to that Oppo Find X8 Pro. Either way, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, of course, don't forget to subscribe, like and everything, bell icon and whatnot, and check out my other videos as well, because it really helps out a channel like mine. I hope that at some point I will be able to do more of a exploring photography and showcasing different environments, how these phones perform, using different situations on these phones, and then showcase the place that I'm at. That would be really the ideal point where I feel like I could create something really unique and different when it comes to my channel especially. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed, but before we leave, I really want to thank my members. Thank you so much for the support that you guys have been giving me. I really appreciate it, I really do. And of course I will leave some files in a Google Drive. These aren't RAW files because I didn't really shoot RAW with these two combined. But of course, some files will be linked so you can check them out in full resolution yourself as well. And of course, if you want to become a member, you can click join somewhere below. I think it's next to subscribe. And of course, you can then become a member and get access to these files and of course some others as well. Anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed, and talk to you guys in the next.